Hey everybody, this is Paul Tosetti from the Tosetti Institute, and today we're going to do a short video talking about Marozzo's sword buckler. So the two things I want to talk about today are from the illustrations of Marozzo. In a few of his illustrations, there's two things that are a little strange in the pictures, and that's the focus of this video. One is that in quite a few pictures, it looks like the face of the buckler is actually turned towards the inside. Okay, in some of these pictures we can actually start to even see the person's back a little bit, and you can actually see the inside as opposed to the way most people normally hold the buckler. The second one is that Marozzo mentions consistently that the arm should be, for the most part, completely outstretched with the buckler in the hand, and in a couple of these pictures it looks like it's very bent and close to the face. So the first thing we're going to talk about is just this buckler face facing to the inside. This is something we've been messing around with a little bit here at the Institute, and works really well for us, and so I'm just throwing this out there as something to think about. Marozzo himself is pretty quiet on the subject of how the buckler moves or whatever. So one of the things that I do is, instead of holding the buckler straight as a thumb grip, I actually have it turned just a little bit in my hand. I find this to be a much more comfortable grip. Now, if I hold it straight out, you can see the buckler's face goes a little bit out towards my left, but if I roll my thumb down, then I can get the buckler to face more towards my inside. So again, I'm just taking my hand and turning it downward. That's it. Okay? Now, this is great for a couple of reasons. One, if I'm throwing a cut from my dominant side going under my arm, my hand's now protected by the buckler at its longest reach. And as I come across and back around to throw the reverse cut, the buckler kind of gets in the way. If I roll my thumb over, it opens the line up so I can get a higher cut, my hand's protected again, and I can close. So this also comes in handy with a couple of different things when my buckler's on my opponent's blade and that sort of thing. So this is just one simple aspect of being able to roll it and creating space. But the other aspect of it that I think is even more important, or equally important, is the tactical reasons for it. So, for instance, if I go to Coda Lunga Stretta, where my sword is down here in my lower right-hand quadrant, I can pretty much guarantee my opponent won't attack down into this area, with the exception of maybe trying to snipe my hands or beat my weapon. Okay? He might attack over here, but he's most likely to come way over here on the opposite side of my sword. Okay? Standard stuff. Once I put my buckler out here, the way that most people hold it, okay, then this does a great job of starting to close this line off as well. The problem here is that where is he going to go now? It's a little chaotic. Okay, here it was a little more obvious. Now I've kind of created some chaos. It might come over here, it might come down the middle, I might try a couple of things, but it's hard for me to make an educated guess as to where he's going to go, because there's no clear line for him to attack. So if I take that same guard and I take my hand and I roll my blade in, or not my blade in, I roll my buckler in, now there's a clear open line over here to attack me. And this looks a bit like Marozzo's illustration. For defense, it's not a big deal. It's a half turn of both wrists and a half turn of the hip, and I can protect and close the line quite easily. Now, when it comes to something like Porta de Ferro, where my weapon is on the inside line, okay, then I have options, okay? I can keep the buckler out this way, rotate it out so that my left side is closed off, or I can roll it in for my right side to be closed off. And this really is just going to depend on where my opponent's blade is to mine, whether I'm in a bind or whether we're outside of the bind. In other words, if I'm on the inside line here and I have my buckler on the outside line here, and I want him to come to this side, then keeping the buckler pointed out there is perfectly fine. If we're in a bind and his blade's against mine and I'm closing that line, again, I'm inviting him to come off my blade and come to the other side. But if, especially for the Bolognese, which is very common, if we're false edge to false edge, in other words, his sword's over here against my short edge, then rolling this over here, again, will create this illusion, at least, that I'm more exposed on this end. And again, being able to turn the buckler and the blade to meet is quite easy to do. So on to the second thing of the arm being looking like it's bent or shorter, even though Marozzo says it should always be extended. Again, there are some exceptions to this. We do lift the buckler up to protect the head for leg cuts, put the buckler and the sword hands together quite a bit for certain things. And there's grabbing and hitting and that kind of thing. But for the most part, it's always supposed to be stuck out here. So why do these illustrations look like the thing, arms bending there? It could be the artist screwed up. But again, the more we say that and the longer we look at some of these pictures, the more we kind of figure out we just don't understand what we're looking at quite as well. So in playing with this, we've looked at a couple of things, and what it looks like to us is that with my arm fully extended and my hips and my shoulders in the proper orientation, depending on where that artist's perspective was, the arm does look foreshortened. So that's just a couple of theories and things we've been playing with recently with the sword and buckler here at the Institute. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope it makes you start thinking about some of the stuff that you're reading and seeing a little bit more. Could be right, could be wrong, don't know. The Maestro's not really talking. Oh, one last thing I forgot to mention. This turning in thing can also might be partially this answer that Marozzo mentions sometimes of looking at the buckler, turning it towards your face like a mirror. Again, who knows? At this point, it's all up to our interpretations. Anyways, cheers, thanks.